Alright, so today I'm going to report on some progress I've made. I'm going to explain some things that I believe I've been able to figure out. There's a lot of different subjects to cover, and so I'm going to try to do that, but I'm probably going to break it up into different videos. General subjects I hope to cover today. These are things that I've just learned. So this is kind of like a diary, but if someone else can learn from it, great. But check up on your stuff. I'm kind of doing this on my own and figuring things out as I go. There may be better ways to do stuff. So I'm also going to show a compilation of something I did last night. I'm going to do a compilation of light HTTPD. I am using Diger's local patches, and it's been helpful, very helpful. And but I'm going to show one other thing that I had to do to get this to work, and it's quite exhilarating actually to get past it because it looked pretty formidable. It's not a really big deal, but if you put everything together that I'm doing, it helps. So here's some of the subjects I'm going to cover. Basically, how to use, and this is also just true for Packagesrc in general, how to use someone else's patches that hasn't been submitted or yet to NetBSD or accepted or whatever. So patches you want to use, and you can do that. I'll talk about how to make patches with NetBSD. Not NetBSD, Packagesrc. I haven't figured out how to get those into Haiku Porter yet. I'll get to that, I hope. So eventually, I'm going to talk about where my make.conf file is now, and the possibility of system integration. I'm going to talk about Diger's subversion. We'll talk about package config, how it works, stuff like that. And then I got a solution for the pthreads issue that was absolutely tormenting me for a while there. I'm going to go over what the variable definitions are in Packagesrc. I'm talking about how to get Diger's in particular patches, because he's done a lot of work on this. I have a solution to overriding the hard link issue. Also going to talk about how to place packages in custom destination so they're all in one place. So if you want to make them available for someone else. I'm also going to talk about the possibility of system integration, so that way Packagesrc could actually be the package manager if you want it that way. I think it's some other things labeled as. I've already gone over this, but I might just do it again. How to override GCC specs. In case, for any reason, I'm not finding that it's true necessarily that maybe you don't want to use the headers that come with Haiku. Maybe you want to make your own header if you have that kind of skill, but you just don't have easy write access to the headers directory. You could make some of your own. You can try things out, or if you want to experiment and say, well, what if I change this in the header? Will it compile? You can do that, and then, that'd be a way for you to be able to actually figure something out and report back bugs that you wouldn't have had anywhere. What other tricks? What other tricks do I have up my sleeve here? Got a lot of them. Command line options, and I'm gonna show how to get some of these, not all of them, configured to to actually compile, and then what you can learn about it, and how you can move these command line options further up, maybe to your BSD make file, or maybe to your master make file, how to use if-then statements to decide what it is you want to do. A little bit more information about the build link, some things that Diger has worked on, and then I'm also going to talk about one way. It's been proven to be difficult to get the network library in there, but one way to add in the network library when it's needed to compile. I'm going to talk about the linker, what some of the, and how to recognize if you're missing the network library in general. And that's just the half of it. And I'm going to stop after just doing this intro, because I'm going to break these down, I think. It's only, I mean, it's the only way I'm going to be able to handle this. Then I'm going to go really deep, really deep into Python. And there's more deeper detail that can be go into. I'm going to go into the patch history for Python. And I'm going to talk about the different kinds of patches that I used when I had my mostly successful compilation of Python 27. Then I'm going to go into Python 34 and how I applied the stuff from Python 27 to Python 34. Some of the subjects are going to be, I break the patches down in different categories. Patches from Haiku, patches from NetBSD, what they are, things that I moved around to get the thing to work, changes I made to the make file, which it's supposed to be created by the configs. So a lot of the time I am editing the make file. Martin Brown mentions that sometimes you just get to edit the make file, but it'd be much better if I could change the config scripts. And then I'm going to go over in a little more detail about the different stages and what files are involved, and the stuff that I can handle and the stuff that I haven't been able to handle. I'm going to try to run a diff. I'm going to show how to at least make a recipe in Haiku Porter. Now, I made a really easy recipe, and I cheated. There's one app that I'm going to remember what I did, and I'm going to find it, and I'm going to show how I made a recipe in there. I'm going to say what I like about it and what I don't like about it, depending on the context. It's a good tool, and overall, at the end of the day, I'll be very clear about this. I think it's a very, very good idea to use Haiku Porter. Packagesrc is a way to go out there and find out what's possible, and then try to solve problems, mess around with things, try different headers, get an answer, come back, and then go into the more regimented confines of Haiku Porter. Because we want the compiling of, at least I do, I would hope, that the process of compiling apps will be as smooth as the most efficient running engine out there. And before I get to that, okay. And the last category on Python, are the files that are created by Python, and then what I think is going on, and what I think needs to be figured out to get things going. In general, before I stop here and then go, load this up and then start doing these in parts, in general, at the end of the day, my hope and my goal is that, one, I'll get enough skills to be able to, and I'm probably freaking myself out half the time, I guess, right? I should just go in there, dive in, and try to do it. If I've been able to figure this stuff out, I could probably figure out Haiku Porter. I'm going to want to set up a way that is understandable, that people could use, so they could make these recipes. Bring things in. Bring patches in. Bring security patches in. Get the ball rolling. Get these recipes working. And then I want to figure out how to submit the changes. Get them approved, and get Haiku Porter working nicely for everybody. I'm not there yet, but that's my ultimate goal, way down in the will I ever get there? I don't know. It's not a promise. It's a hope. I still find this formidable, and I got a lot of tricks up my sleeve to help me out. So I've made a lot of progress. I've compiled some things that I didn't think I'd be able to compile at all, but I'm still not there yet. And I'm still not I want to get to the point where if someone else has compiled it, I want to be able to compile it. Get it on camera so other people have a chance to do it themselves. I'm also kind of starting over, and there'll be one reason why I'll discuss that. There's one major choice to make in the beginning. Well, you can consider these videos started over. I'm a little more experienced now than when I started out. So my opinions, perceptions have changed slightly to some degree, and I'll talk about what, with using some of the tricks I'm doing here, what issues it could cause. And then what issues could come up because there's so many options in Packagesrc, maybe certain things that work for somebody else won't work for you. Not that any one of these things are right or wrong, it's just the way it works out. So that's where I am for now, and hope to do this in a reasonably quick and broken down fashion. Right now this is boost headers compiling. It looks like it's going to install. This is and I've had this success, I will say, solely 100% as a result of Diger's patches. Okay, a big thank you to Diger. I mean, it's really this whole thing. The Haiku ports. It's like, a lot of this stuff wouldn't be possible without the Haiku ports, without Diger's patches, without Haiku Porter, without Packagesrc, without the operating system running in the first place. And you look, you see, here's Web Positive. It's running nicely, here. It's working better than it did before. That's pretty good. And this is from a month ago. This is a nightly from, actually, maybe mid-July. Yeah, this is a nightly from, from mid-July. So if there's been improvements to Web Positive, there's only positive things to look forward to. There's one other option I'm going to look into to see whether maybe I actually will have a writable user directory. I'll see if that's really going to change anything. I mean, I'm actually going to do a run, and I'm going to see whether it's just me thinking that I need one, or if I actually do need one. So I like to experiment and find out real answers instead of... And sometimes that's what the flexibility is about. That's why I've changed the specs file, to see whether the headers make a difference, to see whether, so I could test a theory. Okay, will this fail because of this or that? And then if it doesn't, or if it fails or succeeds, then I'll know my answer. And some of these answers I've been able to get because I've tried things. And then I've tested it. And then I saw they worked or that they didn't work. And hopefully I can get some other people with their ball rolling and they could really do well. But from here, the one thing I'm going to do is talk about the possibility of system integration. And that should be a very significant... I've started over. If I start over, this will be 4th or 5th time. And it's part of the learning process. And a lot of this I would not have learned had I not actually had the experience of doing it. So I want to show this stuff on camera. And I may even go back and redo a lot of my earlier stuff because there may be better answers. There probably are better answers. But I had to learn. So that's where I am now.